We are back at 7:42, and stress comes in all different forms. But for caregivers to those with Alzheimer's, that stress just never goes away. Joining us this morning for National Stress Awareness Month is the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications for the Alzheimer's Association, Jim Hurlihy. Jim, always good to see you.
Good to be back.
Thanks for being with us, especially for this important conversation. Tell us a little about the stress that people face when helping their loved ones with Alzheimer's.
Well, we all experience stress. We all have aging parents. We have loved ones that we care about. But when you add in dementia and Alzheimer's disease, it is a condition that can last for years, up to 20 years, and it's a progressive disease. It's changing all the time. So the stress on the caregivers is, how do they take care of themselves?
Yeah.
How do they care for this loved one, keep them safe? How do they adapt to the changes that are happening? We know the average caregiver gives about, family caregiver gives about 31 hours a week to care for a loved one, and that increases as the disease progresses. So there is a lot of stress from physically keeping them safe. There's the financial stress, and frankly, caregivers tend to ignore their own health.
Right. Yeah, well, it's a 24-hour job whenever you're taking care of somebody with Alzheimer's. And then on top of that, you have to figure out how you're going to handle the own things that you got to do in your life, the errands that you have to run, the bills that you have to pay. How are you going to make that work? What are some symptoms of a caregiver who is experiencing this kind of stress?
Well, there's a number of them. There's about 10 key ones. There's denial. Frankly, a lot of people don't like to accept the fact that their loved one is going through this process because they have known them to be a certain way in life and they're changing. So accepting that change. Then there's anger. Being frustrated with not being able to do the right thing for your loved one and care for them properly. Yeah. You've got social withdrawal because the caregiving is such a time-consuming process that people tend to withdraw. There's the stigma of dementia that you don't necessarily want family and friends to see this loved one change. And so they're doing things to isolate themselves. There is anxiety. You're concerned because the person, you don't know that they can be safe by themselves. So if you have to leave them to go run errands, to go get medicine, to get a haircut, to go to the doctor yourself. Yeah. Many people, and this is where the health and safety of the caregiver comes into question, because so many people deny themselves that care that about 60% of them report extreme anxiety. And while about 3% of the general population will have thoughts of suicide, it's about 33% for caregivers.
That is a really high number when you think about that.
It is. It is stress, and it is physical stress, it's emotional stress, it's the financial stress. When you add all of that up, and then I even spoke to a physician recently whose wife has been diagnosed with dementia, and he said that the challenge for him is understanding the change that happens in his loved one, in his wife.
Yeah, so what are some ways we can help them out, any caregiver out there, de-escalate some of that stress, and also some resources that are available to them?
Well, the one thing that we can give is we can give our own time. And so if you know someone who's a caregiver, offer them an hour of your time to go sit with their loved one so they can get out. Maybe they need to go to see the doctor. Maybe they need to go to the grocery store, whatever it may be. You giving the gift of time helps them immensely. And frankly, just going and spending time with them so that they realize they're not alone in this process, that they can talk to somebody else that they trust and relieve some of that burden. And frankly, the one resource, the Alzheimer's Association, we have support groups, and that's where people can go talk to their peers, other people who are going through this, because often the medical professional, they can tell you the medical diagnosis, they can prescribe medication, but in terms of understanding the emotional aspect of this, nobody really gets it like somebody who's gone through it just like you are.
Yeah, the support groups can be life-saving for so many people, especially when we're talking about suicide rates as high as you just mentioned. Well, Jim, thank you so much for the information, bringing this important conversation to our show this morning.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll check back in with you because obviously this is an ongoing conversation.
It is. The challenge is, as an aging population, the number of people with this disease and the number of people who will be caregivers is just going up.
Unfortunately. All right, Jim, we appreciate your time. Thank you. Let's get